thou, who in days past didst put it into the hearts of good men to found this college, for the imparting of sound learning, the building of character, and the spread of spiritual truth and knowledge of thyself. Bless our college and schools. May love, unity, and brotherhood be learnt here. May industry, uprightness, and courage grew here. And from this place may there be sent forth continuously a stream of men and women who shall serve thee faithfully in thy word. Amen.
Thank you, Clara. Now, let us begin this day. Yesterday we had a power-packed session of events. We had plenary lectures, panel discussion, award ceremony, cultural show. And today is also we are going to have, this is the important day for the presenters who are eagerly waiting to present their research findings. Now we will start the technical session 3. Now this technical session 3 is packed with 3 keynote addresses. I invite Professor Pradeep K. Sharma as a chairperson for this technical session 3. Let me introduce him to the audience. It gives me immense pleasure to extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to our distinguished chairperson today, Professor Pradeep K. Kumar Sharma, Department of Chemistry at J. Narayan Wise University, Jodhpur. Professor Sharma holds a doctorate degree and possesses over 300 years of professional experience in teaching and research. While his expertise spans the breadth of chemical science, he is a leading authority in electroanalytical chemistry and its application in environmental studies, a field that bridges inorganic and materials chemistry. His cutting-edge research focuses on development of analytical methods with higher sensitivities and precision. Precisely, Professor Sharma's work involves optimizing voltammetric conditions for determination of inorganic species in various matrices. He leveraged his advanced training, including J. Herwardsey Institute of Physical Chemistry in Prague, Czechoslovakia, to establish this new vital research area at JNVU. With a significant research output, including 87 publications, Professor Sharma continues to inspire students and researchers across the globe. Sir, your journey truly inspires us, and we are deeply honored to have you among us today. Please join with me to give a warm welcome to Professor P.K. Sharma. Sir, the session is now handed over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor. I'm happy to start the session of today. And in this session, we are having 3 lectures. One is from Janita A. Lianage, University of Kelania in Sri Lanka. Second will be by Dr. Angelo George, and third will be by R.D. Desai, 80th Comparative Medal Prize, E. Bhaskar. So first I would like to the audience, Professor Lianage. Professor Lianage is the primary research interest is in chemical analysis and environmental speciation, addressing the occurrence, transformation and impact of chemical species in environmental system. Through her work, she contributes to improve environmental monitoring and understanding contamination of behavior in which the vital for sustainable environmental management. She has authored about 200 research articles, a book, 2 book chapters, 2 monographs, and a handbook and 4 patents. In addition to her teaching and research, she actively disseminates her findings through peer-reviewed publications, conferences, presentation, and scholarly contribution, such as book chapters and other academic outputs. So, please, I would like to request Professor Lianage to start her, please. One thing I would like to underline here that yesterday our esteemed President Professor Yadav was telling that we should not discriminate the ladies. So the first lecture, we are not discriminating anyone. The first lecture is starting by a lady from Sri Lanka. Thank you so much.
Ayubowan. Good morning to all of you. Thank you very much for the opportunity for the first lecture to a lady. So, anyway, thank you very much for the opportunity to present some of my work here. And I will just let you know that 6 of my students are presenting in the afternoon, and they are here. And I'm just presenting a summary of all the work, but in detail, if you want to know, they will present. When they present, you can discuss with them also. So I will do the environmental and dietary nephrotoxicant burdens linked to chronic kidney disease of unknown etiology, prevalence in the dry zone of Sri Lanka. So, if I give you a brief introduction, this is a very, very severe problem in our dry zone, north central part. I know some part of India also have this kind of disease. Still, we are struggling to find the etiology. Though there are so many research have been done in different areas, environment, human research, medical, sociology, all these research have been done, but still we are struggling to find the etiology, but it can be due to some environment factors, we think. So, first of all, I request you all, if you are interested to join the research group in Sri Lanka at University of Kelaniya, we have very sophisticated equipment center at Kelaniya University dedicated for CKDU research. So CKDU Research and Information Center, which I got from the government about 3 years back for 150 million Sri Lankan rupees. So I request you all to join our group if you wish to find this course. It is not only for Sri Lanka, it is for some parts of the world. So I will go through this anyway. So as an introduction, you know, I told you the chronic kidney disease of unknown etiology is a non-communicable disease, right, affecting structure and the function of kidneys. So CKDU is a silent epidemic, and this has 5 stages. I'm not going to tell you all the details. 5 stages. When somebody is having this, it is very difficult to reverse back the kidney to the normal phase, but you can prevent progressing if we can identify the cause. And it is rapidly spread through the Sri Lanka province. It's a dry zone, north central province, and there are some areas that the rainwater is not having much, but we provide water there. But most patients, when it happens, and most patients affected by CKDU are males between the age of 20 and 60. So that is another thing. And they, in our countries, the male, the father is the person who is running the family. So when it when it is affected, the whole family is in a very, curious situation, because the whole economy of that family is affected. And these are mainly farmer families, so it affects the economy of the country also, not the families. So it is a huge burden to the government also, any government in Sri Lanka. So, and also the dialysis, and there are many treatments they do, so we have to give them free of charge all the treatments. So it's a real burden to the economy of the country also. And now, what this CKDU means, U means unknown etiology. Now some patients having diabetes and hypertension also getting some kidney diseases, but this is not associated with those common known causes. Now, if you look at this, the CKDU prevalence areas, this doesn't work with this. Anyway, Sri Lanka is there. I know, you all know Sri Lanka. And India is also in red. Some parts of India is also having that. And there are some parts of the world having CKDU hotspots, and some other countries have reported CKDU. They are not severe as our countries, but the severity is growing. So I think we two countries together will find some solution. Now, if you look at Sri Lanka, this is the north-central part in Sri Lanka, and especially you may have heard this Anuradhapura is a very ancient city where you have a lot of Buddhist temples and many other religious places, and especially it is a agricultural area. And anyway, this presentation I limit only to these 4 areas. I have done it throughout the country, these studies for a long time, but I will just present only these 4 areas. This is Girandurukota in Badulla district. Badulla, you can see the Badulla. Badulla district, and Madhavachya in Anuradhapura district, and Madirigiriya and Hinguragoda in Polonnaruwa district, and the Nikavava in Kurunegala district. It is all in the north central province in Sri Lanka. And if we see, the objective of this study was to, what I am doing is environmental toxins and heavy metal exposure we checked, right? Because these studies have divided into 8 by the WHO, and 8 areas are given to separate experts in those areas: medicine, medical field, social science field, and so many other areas they have divided. And I headed this environmental section, was headed by me. So the exposure, we tried to see the exposure of environmental toxicants and heavy metal exposures of those patients and the other people in that area, and we wanted to identify emerging risk patterns. And you can see, I don't need to explain, heavy heavy metals are, circulating, and finally it can some pollution sources, and it will be finally end up with in the human body. And also, this is the way that our people, farmers, use pesticides and, and all. So then in these areas, there are some drinking water wells also. So what we thought was to see the contaminations of well water, drinking water, soil, and their food items and everything we wanted to see in this area. And if we look at very briefly the heavy metal contamination and the relationship between CKDU and heavy metal contamination, so among the pollutants that can cause adverse effects in living beings, heavy metals can be considered as one of the most dangerous, since these pollutants are obtained in the environment. So and can originate from natural sources and or through anthropogenic activities, right? So the essential metals like copper, zinc, molybdenum, and iron have important biological functions. But in the case of deficiency or significant increase, they can become toxic. So non-essential metals like cadmium, mercury, tin, and lead do not have proven any biological functions and increase their toxicity as their concentrations in an organism can increase. So, and also there are some synergistic effects also among those metals. So it is not only one thing that we can look at. You have to have the whole system. So when we have high amount of heavy metals, there are so many things can happen: brain damages, psychological and neurological disturbances. Likewise, there can be many disorders. When we look at the heavy metal contamination, particularly cadmium, arsenic, and lead in prevalent farming community and has a direct association with rice cultivation in literature. You find them in previous literature. And this contamination is frequently linked to the overuse of pesticides. They have come up with some solution, some causes for these overuses of pesticides and the herbicides and chemical fertilizer, which results in the accumulation of zinc, lead, arsenic, and copper in the topsoil of agricultural fields. So, rice and vegetable constitute the primary diet in Sri Lanka, like in India. Our main meal is rice and with vegetables, and with similar dietary patterns across gender and all age groups. The traditional Sri Lankan cuisine built around 3 meals, as here, predominantly features rice paired with coconut and seafood. Right. So we have seafood. We have seafood around the country. We are an island, but in those north central province, there are some inland fishing, and they use fresh, not seafood, but what they get from their nearby reservoirs. Now, however, Logistical challenges, people in the north central province rely heavily on inland fish. They engage in inland fishing and they harvest them and they depend on the inland fishing. So that is the main protein source for them. So we have to think that main protein source is that, and the kidneys are related to this protein, what we eat. And the consumption of inland fish along with the other food like rice present a considerable health risk due to the accumulation of toxins and heavy metal contaminations. So all these are reported cases. Now, if we look at the potential origins of these toxic metals, right? So we use huge amounts of pesticides and fertilizers, and they can contaminate the well water, they can contaminate the fish in tanks, and they can contaminate the paddy soil and this, not only paddy soil, the rice and other vegetables and all, right? And they all transfer these heavy metals to human beings when we use them in food. Now, another observations that are found is this is widely spread in agricultural areas, and cadmium, arsenic, and lead contamination is commonly reported in rice-growing regions. Farming communities are particularly vulnerable, and they are mainly farmers that are affected. And also, very recently I found another one, this cadmium. Cadmium, we don't put cadmium to the soil or anything, but soil-bound cadmium can be released with the use of phosphate fertilizer. So that also we have to think, because our fertilizer, NPK fertilizers, have phosphates and all. So this phosphate can release soil-bound cadmium to the plants. So this cadmium can go through the plants and they can contaminate the rice and other fruits in plants. So that is another thing that we found out. And direct links to rice cultivation, actually, these are related to direct links to rice cultivation. So rice fields are often hot spots for heavy metal accumulation due to prolonged agricultural use. And agrochemical inputs as major contributors, that is another assumption. Agrochemical inputs, we use huge amount of agrochemicals. Because our farmers don't get advice from the scientific officer or agricultural officer there. They get the advice from the sales people. They want to sell their products. So they give advice and they put them. So we can see the amounts that they use is not the amounts that is sufficient for removing or prevent pests. It is always excess. So this excess these pesticides and these agrochemicals can contaminate the water, contaminate the soil, and ultimately it will come to people's body. in various ways. And the topsoil contamination is there. Continuous chemical use lead to build up metals like any metal can, because we cannot destroy metals, these metals somehow have to be somewhere, so they can contaminate the topsoil. And the environmental and health implication, heavy metals in soil can enter food chain, right, causing health risks to both farmers and consumers. And if you look at very briefly the nephrotoxicity of heavy metals, it can directly cause toxic effects to the kidneys. So these are some of the problems that can occur when these heavy metals enter the kidneys, right? So cadmium, lead, mercury is there mainly. And if we look at what we have done is environmental monitoring and key findings in CKDU regions. So comprehensive sample analysis were done. There were so many research projects, research grants were given to researchers to analyze this problem or to find a solution for this problem. That is how I got this CKDU Research and Information Center at Plenary University. And we are still monitoring, we are still continuing this research there. And the environmental samples we collected like soil, water, sediments, and all a variety of food. And then they focus on identifying contaminant sources linked to CKDU. Then hotspot mapping was done, and geospatial analysis used to map contamination hotspots in CKDU prevalent areas, and it supposed targeted intervention strategies. And then groundwater contamination is very dangerous. When we pollute the groundwater, you cannot clean, nor it is not easy to clean them. So elevated levels of cadmium and arsenic detected in drinking water sources, and exceeded levels set by we always compare them with the WHO guidelines. And environmental linked to CKDU clusters, we have found that this problem is in clusters in Sri Lanka. Environmental toxicant associated with CKDU without excluding heavy metals like pesticides, herbicides, fertilizer residues, all are getting to the environment, and they all contaminate the soil, water, and finally they all can come to the body of human beings. And the mechanism of pesticide-induced renal dysfunction is the absorption and bioaccumulation is there, right? Pesticides enter the body through inhalation, any way, ingestion or thermal exposure. If you do not protect yourself in a very safe manner. And some pesticides can accumulate in fat and renal tissues. And this oxidative stress generation, pesticides induce reactive oxygen species formation is there in the body. And they can damage the renal cells in membranes, DNA, and proteins, leading to tubular injuries. And mitochondrial dysfunction can happen. So this happens in the renal cells and results in decreased ATP production in the energy depletion and cell death. Then direct nephrotoxicity. Chronic pesticide exposure stimulates inflammatory cytokines, so it is a direct exposure toxicity, and lead to renal inflammation, fibrosis, and progressive nephrotoxicity. Okay. And some pesticides can, inflammatory pathways activation can be happen. And in addition to them, heavy metals, fluorides, we are in a fluoride belt. These areas are in the fluoride belt, right? And sometimes silica dust and particulate matter can be there, mycotoxins, cyanobacterial toxins, hard water, and mineral imbalances. I must tell you this, these areas, the water is hard also. So it is not one factor, it can be multifactorial. And if you look at the behavioral factors contributing to CKDU, occupational and lifestyle factors, prolonged dehydration, heat exposure, so all these farmers, they are in the field throughout the day, so dehydration is there, they do not drink sufficient amount of water, but they drink, they get from the nearby water stream and drink. So these water streams can be contaminated, they have contaminated water. And even I tested their local alcohols also, they also have heavy metals. But they prepare and, in locally, those areas. And use of agrochemicals without protective measures, that exposure to agrochemicals, and poor access to clean drinking water, that is the main one. Even though something is your body is contaminated with something, you cannot flush it off because they have poor access to clean drinking water. And the repeated kidney injuries from lifestyle things, sometimes snake bites and all these things can happen, but it is not a cause for CKDU. And the challenges and limitations. So challenges and gaps in research. Yes. So some scientists, many people have started, many scientists, but the problem is when they could not find a reason, they stopped doing that. But we are continuing, still we are doing this research, to find, anyway, at least to find something that can be a possible cause. So limiting long-term cohort studies and the variability in diagnostic criteria and exposure assessments, and we need for harmonized data collection across regions. So that is why I requested India to come up with some data, and we are always ready to collaborate. And we have some facility, India also has some facility, so together we can do a lot actually. So potential solutions, policy and prevention strategies, regulations on agrochemical usages, though there are regulations, farmers do not follow it. Regular monitoring of groundwater and soil. Sometimes we don't have facilities to do this, but we do this. Regular monitoring, community health education programs, and safe farming practices and protective years. So some of the potential solutions for this problem, still the cause is unknown. And the future directions, like non-invasive detection methods, right? And the machine learning for CKDU classification, and international collaboration. So I started with this, international collaborations and the data sharing. So I invite the chemists to join us from India and other countries, because India also having this problem. And if I conclude this small presentation, actually this is a very small part of our work. This emphasizes the combined influence of dietary, geochemical, and environmental nephrotoxins in progression of CKDU, and the studies underscore the urgent need of integrated inventions targeting dietary practices, agricultural inputs, and water resource management to mitigate exposure risk in vulnerable population in Sri Lanka's dry zone. So thank you very much for kind attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Lianage, for your wonderful talk. And definitely we will try some of our students to connect with you and some of the supervisors, so that as you have invited us to work over there in Sri Lanka on this. So I would like to request the local organizers also, they should take the notice of it, and we all should be able to get them go there to work somewhere in your university. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you very much.
I request Pradeep K. Sharma, sir, to felicitate ma'am.
Perhaps the audience should know Professor Janita was Vice Chairman of UGC of Sri Lanka and also an ambassador to Russia.
In Anderson Hall, I used to be a student here. Normally, when you look at sustainability, we always think in terms of ESG, regulations, following rules. But I'm going to take it to a context which is very different, which is about how sustainability is crucial for a brand and the sustenance of a business itself. I'm honored to represent Plenary, one of the most loved brands in India, serving consumers for over 55 years. But you know, in the life cycle of a brand, there always comes a time when I came on board as the first non-family member to head the business. The challenge for me is how to make Plenary continue to be relevant and exciting for people across generations. Because it can easily slip into a grandfather's brand. So we went and refreshed our communication, put in the brand ambassadors who resonate with what we call as Gen Z. And we strengthened our core proposition of hydration. Nowhere it gets amplified like in sports. If you are not well hydrated, you can't perform. And we have one of the largest sports partnerships in both in India and in the Middle East, where we are present now. Having said that, our research indicated that the consumers, particularly the Gen Z consumers, were asking, are you a responsible brand? Are you taking care of the environment while you are conducting your business? And that's a story which I'm going to share with you, how we went about doing it. So we said we need a strategic approach to this. We have two challenges from an environmental standpoint. First, our product itself. If you don't have water, you don't even have a business. And water is a commodity which is very scarce in India. I will share that in the second part of the presentation. And the packaging which we put our water so that it reaches the consumers. So this is the program we put together, the Bisleri Greener Promise, addressing both water conservation and plastic circularity. Before I proceed further, let me reassure the audience that we were one of the first companies in India to become plastic neutral. We recycle more plastic than we put into the market. And we replenish 4.7 times the water that we take out from the ground. And these are all validated by experts and their studies. When we look at our brand, we are unbiased in terms of the alternatives which are used for packaging. We are in the business of providing safe water to consumers. As long as the packaging is safe, affordable, because Professor Janita said the context that contaminated water is a big problem. In our country, only 47% of the urban households have a pipe connection coming to their homes. And 50% of the groundwater across districts are contaminated. So you require water and it has to be affordable. From an industrial standpoint, it needs to be scalable. Somebody comes to me with fancy packaging, a bamboo, you can put water into this. Is it scalable? How many bamboo trees you will require? And most importantly, is it the best sustainable option that we have among the alternatives? Let's touch upon plastic. From the time it came to be called as plastic in 1925, where all materials grouped under this kind of products got classified under plastic. Today it has become an integral part of our life. We wake up to plastic, right? We brush our teeth with the nylon bristles. And when we go to sleep, what do? We set the alarm in a mobile phone which is practically made of plastic. But do we call metals, all metals put together as metals? We don't, right? We call them iron, gold, brass, whatever it is, based on the alloys. But we must appreciate that plastic as a material is just about 150 years old. So maybe the human race is just getting used to this new material, unlike what we have in other materials which have been thousands of years. So all these materials today are grouped under a misnomer called plastic. And they are inherently different. You can see some are more recyclable than other plastics. And it's time that we start differentiating them and treating them differently. Among these plastics, PET is approved by regulators across the world for both food applications and pharmaceutical applications. There are a lot of misconceptions that water stored in plastic bottle is likely to cause problems. So there is an association, PET Association for Safe Environment. We conducted a study along with CFTRI, and it's a 2-year study which we did in 2019 to 21, clearly establishing that there is no bisphenol A which is coming out, there is no phthalates. And the subsequent study which we did with CSIR Pune, and you can see this is the second study which we have done. And for the chemistry audience, I don't need to explain the chart. These are comprehensive studies using both plastic bottles, glass bottles and aluminum bottles, and also kept at very high temperatures. Even in our environment, the temperatures goes to 48, 50 degrees only for a certain duration of the day. These were kept similar for a period of about 30 days. In fact, there's one more study, most of it has proved exactly the same, but there are 2 more parameters which once they're out, we'll publish it. These are all in public domain. So next time somebody tells you don't drink water from a plastic bottle if it's kept in a car in the open sun, they are all coming from WhatsApp University, not by people who have conducted extensive studies. And when you take from the cradle to grave for a material and compare them against the easily available alternatives, which is PET, glass and aluminum, you will notice that at the end of the day, PET has a lower carbon footprint, almost 1/5 of glass and half of aluminum. I think we need to understand this. A lot of people don't know this. However, I think there is a problem. There's a huge amount of plastic pollution. But should we be blaming the material or should we be blaming ourselves, the consumers? I think a lot of it comes from mindless consumption and irresponsible disposal. So we said if we are one of the largest companies in terms of using plastic, we should do something about it, going and talking to consumers to moderate consumption and responsibly use plastic. So we launched this program called Bisleri Bottles for Change, where we go and educate consumers that plastic post-use has value, it can be recycled. Please segregate it so that it doesn't end up in landfill, it can go directly into recycling. Not only that, we created an ecosystem. And I am delighted to say that one of the places where it has been successfully implemented right in the early stages, about 5 years ago, is right here in Madras Christian College. I am delighted to the support we have received from the management and the principal. You see that you can actually go into an app and say, I've got a set of plastic available for disposal. Either we will send our vehicle or we'll send an agent to pick it up. It will go directly for recycling. And as we speak today, we are present in about 19 states in the country and about 45 municipal corporations. And in fact, we actually opened the first plastic recycling museum in Bhayandar municipality last week, along with the minister from Maharashtra. You can see that we create the multiplier effect by associating ourselves with large corporates, educational institutions, hotels, and restaurants, and some of the biggest names in the country. And these are some of the other ones which don't fall in that category. You can see some palaces also are part of it now, the Mysore Palace, the Rambagh Palace, the Manekshaw Center, the prime property of the Indian Army, and the CFTRI in Mysore. We said we should also do something about educating general public that post-use plastic can be repurposed into very useful utility items. That's the bench you find here. And these benches are made out of Bisleri caps, not even added color after that. And the background paintings are done by artists who don't have hands. They paint with their feet and mouth. We thought it's a great opportunity to honor and respect their creativity. These are now placed in some of the most iconic locations in the country, right from Ram Mandir to Sabarmati to Mysore Palace, Rambagh Palace, and including the luxury hotels of the Taj group of hotels. And Shastri Bhavan, which houses 18 ministries of the government of India, our benches have replaced all the sofas which used to be there in the corridors. And we have also created some bookshelves for use, launched during the book fest. This is something which we had done about repurposing plastic into a higher value product. You know, about roughly 750 grams, I think, goes into making a blazer. So Mr. Shankar was here yesterday. We have associated with his company in Karur. They make some of the best breathing jackets made out of pure PET. I think about 52 bottles of Bisleri goes into making one jacket. And 52 bottles of Bisleri is a cost of about 100-150 rupees. The blazers cost you about 6,500 rupees. And they have perfected a cruciform pattern in terms of the fiber. So it is like this, so it breathes and doesn't feel like you are wearing a raincoat. Not only this, we have done a lot of work in terms of ensuring our forests remain clean. We have set up the material recovery facilities, the first in the country, in about 4 national parks, starting with the Ranthambore, and we have got a mandate now to take over all the national parks where we built material recovery facilities, so the plastic pollution of the forest can be avoided. And on the right side, you see, it's something which we do in Coorg, a UNESCO heritage forest, picking up plastic periodically. And with the district administration of Ooty, we are trying to make Ooty the first hill station in the country to be not plastic free, but plastic waste free. Let's move on to water, which is our next challenge. We have got some of the best-in-class water processing efficiencies, and we have got rainwater harvesting across all our factories. We have got a catchment area approach that we don't build these mega plants, typical of beverage industry, 6,000 bottles per minute, 10,000 bottles per minute. We have moderate, medium-sized factories, so we are able to replenish water in that location. So we have about 150 factories across the country. And in each catchment, we adopt a water body so that the percolation happens exactly in the similar catchment, or watershed as we call in technical language. Our efforts extend into rural, where we have built over 330 check dams, providing year-long water for farmers, so their livelihoods have improved. And on the other side is what you see, we build lakes. In fact, we participate in the Ladakh Marathon, 185-kilometer race, and we were placing the Bisleri bottles on the road for the runners to pick up. The villagers came to Garao us. They said, we don't even have water to drink, and you guys are placing water bottles in the road. Can you help us? So we started building the first lake which will capture the water coming down from during the summer season. And as you see, what you see out there is the third lake we have built up, the third year of association with Ladakh Marathon. Every year we have promised to build one lake over there so the entire area in terms of villages can be fed with water. And this process also started right here in Madras Christian College. I'm delighted to be part of replenishing our heritage lake and providing so much of water. Hopefully, even the water table in Madras Christian College will go up, and the hostelites sitting out here, hopefully you will have water 24 hours rather than the couple of hours in the morning and the evening. Having said that, one of the largest challenges facing this country is this. We have 18% of the world's population, but only 4% of the groundwater. And we are very good in extracting it. That we have exhausted almost 25% per capita in 70 years. You can see some parts of the north, particularly Punjab, possibly move into a desert kind of a terrain in the next 15 years. Because the groundwater recharge versus groundwater pickup versus the kind of replenishment is at 162%. Whatever rainfall happens, 162% you are taking out from the ground. Groundwater is just getting exhausted. This is a danger. So we said, as a large water company, we should do something about it. And this is a discussion our chairman had with me since the time I came on. He said, why can't we do something about this? There is something called carbon credits which have made people and organizations responsible and conscious about, emissions. Can't the same thing happen to water if you're doing a concept called water credits? So I said, better study this. So I studied entire carbon credits market for almost 9 months to 1 year and understood I don't have the academic gravitas for studying something which is related to water. So we roped in Dr. Arun Kansal and his team from Terry University in Delhi and said, let us try and understand the whole landscape of practices in water trading and water policies which are there, and create a methodological framework which will estimate impact adjusted water footprint, which means normally when we look at a water utilization of a factory or a business, you would call something within the fence. I am damn good at it. 92% is my water processing efficiency. But if I choose to bring plastic from Jammu for a packing in Bombay and then shipping that good to Solapur in Maharashtra, I need to account for the water that is consumed at the plant in Jammu, transportation, and transportation reaching to consumers and all the overheads. That is my real water footprint. And if I'm stupid to put up a plant in a water scarce area, there needs to be a penalty factor. And if I'm doing a lot of conservation effort, there needs to be a positive factor attached to it. That is the impact adjusted water footprint. And we said we should demonstrate it in our own factories in 2 locations, one a water arid area and one a water rich area. And finally, we should create a toolkit which any industry can pick up and adopt. And it's a large study by itself. We started the study in October 2022, and in August, our Honorable Prime Minister declared Mission LIFE, where environment-friendly actions are going to be rewarded by green credits, which could be traded like carbon credits. We said, wonderful, we have absolutely aligned with the national priorities and policies. And we completed our study, and this is for your information. Normally, to produce 1 liter of Bisleri, I require 1.08 liters of water, period, in the factory. But when I look at the entire value chain from the source of packaging to reaching to consumers, in Maharashtra, it takes me about 11 liters of water. And in Sahibabad, where the only water body there is the Ghazipur Nalla, it takes about 14 liters. Now just compare this with a carbonated beverage supported by study by their own company, Coca-Cola. It takes 56 liters of water to produce 1 liter of Coca-Cola which you drink. I think we all need to be cognizant and aware of this. So we said, we have done this study. Now how do you take it forward? And what are the key outputs that has come out of this? So what has come out of the study is really these 5 points. There has to be a definition of the monetary value. And one of the interesting things for a fast-moving consumer goods company, which we said is, like electrical equipments have a star rating today, right? Can we have a similar rating for fast-moving consumer goods? That if this company is responsible about water usage, you are replenishing more water, can it be a 5-star product? So when a consumer, an educated Gen Z consumer looks at the packaging, she will have greater affinity for it. We took our research further, and this is the second study which we did and presented in Raisina Dialogues last year. We have been part of Raisina Dialogues for the last 3-4 years. This is about trading blue gold, as we call it. And that's about what is the real value of water. Now, the value of water in Kerala versus the value of water in Rajasthan could be very different. There's a contextual aspect to it. There is also a fact you need to understand, that if water credits become a reality in terms of execution, it shouldn't end up moneyed corporates and individuals cornering the resource called water and depriving weaker sections in the society. So there are multiple dimensions which we need to think about, which is addressed in this book, the report. Both these reports are in public domain for everybody to see. And we are working with the Government of India and the Jal Shakti Ministry to figure out if water credits can become a reality. And Bisleri's work has been the pioneering work in this area. Not only this, we said we should also do something about circular economy. We've been publishing books that's the Raisina Dialogues of 24. Along with the Center for Environment Education, we published possibly the most well-illustrated book for students in the 10th standard, according to the new education policy, there is 120 hours of environment education. And we thought we should create some content for that. That's a book which you see over there. But having released the book, we realized that possibly the education should start much earlier. And that is the next work which we have done. With the National Book Trust of Government of India, we are converting that book into a comic kind of a version for primary schools. So the 4th and 5th standard students will start understanding what is this material called plastic, how are they different, what is recyclable, how should we moderate consumption of the items which are non-recyclable, and what should we do after using it, and grow up as responsible citizens, more responsible than possibly our generation. This book will be released in January in the New Delhi Book Fair, and we are almost finalized it, and Chota Bheem happens to be one part of the character in the comic book. We are a private company, and we have no business to publish a BRSR report, which is only mandated by SEBI for the top 1,000 market capitalization companies. But we said we should be transparent about what we do, and we have published it. And the first ESG audit, we have been found progressive because we said, okay, we are doing something, let us measure it by independent bodies. Now, this is the stuff which we did. Now, having said this, it again went back to, is this all adding up to improving brand love for brand Bisleri? And we did our studies, and it kind of reassured us very strongly that our affinity scores have gone up. Not only our growths have gone up, but our affinity scores from our consumers have gone up. And that provides us a reassurance, and we will keep working harder at this in terms of ensuring the Bisleri greener promise leave the planet a better place than how we found it. Before I close, let me play a video which kind of captures the essence of all that we do.
चलो घर से मिले।
तू एक बूंद दिल जिंदगी है, तू खुश सी मुस्कान है, हर जगह है तू डगमग पंख है, ऊंची उड़ान है तू, सारा जहां है तू, जा मंजिल के परे ओ पागल बुलबुले, चल बचपन के तले, वही तेरा घर मिले।
इस घर को हम प्यार से रखते हैं। बिस्लरी, ग्रीनर प्रॉमिस।
Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. And once again, thanks ICS and Dr. Wilson for this.
Friends, thank you so much, Professor George, Dr. George, for giving us the purest water after contamination. Now, we come to the another one, from water to biomass. Now, I would like to request Professor T. Bhaskar, Director, Advanced Material and Process Research Institute, Bhopal, as Professor of Academy of Science and Innovation Research, a distinguished leader in sustainable energy and material research. He is TS one of the India's premier laboratories working at the forefront of biomass valorization, waste management, and advanced functional materials. His scientific excellence has been recognized globally throughout repeated inclusion of his world's top 2% scientists list in the field of energy, published by the Stanford University, as well as the prestigious honors such as Banaras Hindu University Centennial Award, the Distinguished Scientist Award from International Bioprocessing Association, and international fellowships, including Fellow of Royal Society of Chemistry, FIBA, and Fellow of the Indian Society of Environmental and Ecological Strategies. Friends, as Director of CSIR AMPRI, Professor Bhaskar plays a crucial role in bridging advanced research with industry and societal needs. Now, I would like to request Professor Bhaskar to deliver his talk on strategies and effective utilization of bioprocessing, bioresources, opportunities, and challenges. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Chairman, for a nice introduction. And at the outset, I thank the organizing committee, especially Professor G.D. Yadav and team MCC, for giving me an opportunity to extend the invitation to speak what works I've been doing in the especially area of bioresources utilization. And after the address and the initial remarks by Professor Yadav on the bio-based resources, that makes me very easy to start the presentation and make the context setting. And after the presentation, after George, about the plastics, for me that is also a polymer. This is also a polymer. That is only synthetic polymer, this is a natural polymer. So he is trying to say about the sustainability of the synthetic polymer. I would like to try to say how the natural polymer will also be sustainable after extracting the fixed energy in this. And as I mentioned that I am from Advanced Material and Process Research Institute. A slide about what actually the advanced materials and what structure is. The AMPRI Bhopal has 6 core divisions on energy and environmental solutions. Any material we prepare or any systems which we have, that we will take care. Innovative materials, intelligent materials, functional materials, lightweight materials, sustainable construction materials. Everything is material. But what way it interacts, what way we use, and how we define the sustainability, we try to do with the integration of the energy and environmental divisions. Due to time limitations, I will take key points and also the biomass-based work. Without much delay and introduction, we all depend on the fossil-based hydrocarbons. More than 87% we import from outside. More than 95% technologies, materials we import. We process based on the imported technologies and we use. How long this will go? That is what the problem between Russia and Ukraine and also other issues. So we need to find some solutions, and by God's grace we have a natural process, photosynthesis. We get a lot of biomass in India. Similar to crude oil, we don't have much varieties. Crude oil also, Vietnam crude, Russian crude is different from Ukraine and also the Saudi crude. So we have different varieties. But we all know, even now crude oil problem is not because of non-availability of crude oil, it is because of the environmental pollutions. And also we need to see the economics. Today many people knows that the bio-based or organic products are good. But how much percentage we consume, because at the end of the day we need to see the economics also. So if it is not economically good, then we don't consume. So that is where the scientist professor's role is to make it economically viable, apply the green chemistry, apply the good chemistry practices, good materials. So we need to look at the equity also. When we set the problems of the crude oil at one places, we have this, but we 3 E's are important so that this will become viable, this will be applicable. And most of my talk is concentrated towards the Indian scenario, how we generalize these kind of things to the Indian scenario and Indian situation. As I mentioned that we are committed to the Panchamrit. The basic essence of this Panchamrit is only to reduce the fossil-based carbons in all our activities, including from energy to the any materials. So the only alternate is to use the bio-based carbons or biomass-based carbons. We have data report in 2000, around 10, 18, 12, but after that we don't have the updated data. We have taken a project and produced the 2019, this data, updated 653 districts data using the satellite, mapped the kind of biomass resources we have and also the applications, what actually we are using, what is the potential, how much we can replace that. See, without details, approximately after using for all applications, at the lowest level, we have around 200 metric million tons of biomass available in India. If you take only the carbon content, because it is a mixture of cellulose, hemicellulose, lignin, but if you take only that carbon also, we have enough potential. If you compare with the crude oil, which we are importing around 230 metric million tons crude, if you calculate the oil which is produced from the biomass is more than what we are importing. Without going much detail, just I would like to show today about the potential and economically viable models for this country. So if you see this, these are the different sources. What I have presented around 190 is only the dry mass, but if you see these kind of other biomasses, it adds more than 350 metric million tons of the biomass in this country. So we need to use effectively. Knowingly this and biomass is nothing new. We have been doing from the ages once we started about energy, firewood, whatever it is. But today we have new things because of the population and other reasons. The renewability, sustainability and circularity. We can use for energy, low value but large volume. Biomaterials, high value, small quantity is required. So we need to make the arrangement to make it economically viable. How best we use? Example, if we see the crude oil import, we make very small percentage of the polymers which are high expensive. The remaining mostly we use as a gasoline, diesel for burning purpose, internal combustion engines. So we need to make the balance so that we will make the beneficial. So for this we have to adapt for the biomass. Now, knowingly this, what is the challenge, what is stopping us? If you see this, around 15 agroclimatic zones in India, each agroclimatic zone produces the different varieties, different compositions of the biomass. Rice straw, it is not same all across. The Jammu Kashmir rice straw is different from the rice straw in Kerala. If you see the composition or the chemistry formula or the stoichiometric things. So we have generated that data and start using, replacing as per the Panchamrit COP 26. So first is energy, where we need primary energy requirement, make the pelletization and also just train to the local people so that they can stop cutting the forest wood, trees, so that they can use the available biomass in the form of a pellets, so that the fires are reduced and used for energy. we know we have been doing this. But here is, we don't use any chemical additives and modifiers for the pellets or the briquettes, and just train to the local people so that they can make it. This is a just example. We thought, because Punjab Parali burning problems are there, we thought why not we make the more valuable products out of it so that it is useful. So you can see this is recently made mobile stands and the jewelry boxes from the Parali, that is straw. So it is environmentally good. You don't need to burn, because we are talking of making the PET to the t-shirts, PET to the carpets. This is a biomass based, so you can make use of it. It is only the example we have given to the Honorable Minister. So here you can see that these are the boards, particle boards. This is for the wall, and partition boards you can make it directly using without any much energy, and you can avoid the forest. So if you calculate the carbon emissions, carbon footprint, this is much beneficial, so directly you can use. But that we don't need much. The amount of requirement and value addition is also a requirement. Transportation is another challenge. So keeping that, we try to do several modifications, conversion process to make chemicals, fuels, carbons, and also the other byproducts so that we can make the value addition. Today I will talk much about the high-valued carbons and advanced materials which are much in demand today. So we do the different pyrolytic processes to make the three products: oil, liquid, solid, and also the gas, for the diverse applications, so that the transformation from the laboratory to the industry application is immediate, so that the advancement of the materials can be long time process. This is, once you have the liquid products from the pyrolysis process, it is a complex. It is like a crude oil, more complex than the crude oil. You have almost 20 to 25% of the oxygenates also. How you use it? And the simple conventional distillation process will not work like what is applicable in refinery. So we try to separate these low quality oxygenates and make the high density fuel precursors, because normally we use only 1 to 1.5% of the high density fuel precursors, so that they can be used for the energy applications. So because I worked almost 18-19 years in Indian Petroleum, so I know how best the hydrocarbons will be reformed in the refinery, how the process will be modified, so that you can make use of these things. But in refinery, if you see, most of the people, workhorse of refinery is the fluid catalytic cracking process. So any kind of a high sulfur content and highly mixed compounds, you dump in the fluid FCC process, you will get the hydrocarbons. So we try to mix the 5 to 10% of those things with vacuum gas oil of this bio oil. The life of the catalyst is more. The production of the C2C3, which are polymers, because the demand for the plastics is more, so you will get more kind of a products. And also the additional bonus is you have the more life of the catalyst, so that will have a lot of benefit. That means the utilization of the partial replacement of the fossil based hydrocarbons will make you a lot of benefits. So if I go to the next step, we need the directly usable hydrocarbons. So we have developed this hydropyrolysis process. This integrated hydropyrolysis process will provide you water free. Total acid number is less than 2, with the heating value is more than 18,000. This will make you compatible, suitable for the directly usable fungible hydrocarbons in your engines. But the economics will not work today as on date, because the conventional fossil based hydrocarbons are subsidized. So you need to work with that to do that. But the quantity is very high. How you do it? We started making the value addition and applications, because everybody knows the paracetamol 500 mg, that means the 500 mg of that molecule has 10 rupees and 15 rupees. But 1 liter of gasoline diesel is 60 rupees, 70 rupees or 100 rupees. That means the milligram has more value. That means functional compounds are more valuable. So we tried to use those things for the herbal applications with the company. So we produce and give them, they operate for the various herbal applications with the industry. So they evaluate for several applications. See, another interesting is, as you are all Chennai, we have given this oils, the Chennai Snake Park, to evaluate for the snake bites stopping. Because in India, around 6,000 people will die every year. You Google it for the snake bite. Who will die? Farmers. Farmers are giving the food to us. They are dying because of the snake bite. So we thought convert the biomass into the oils. Snakes will go away. They will not problem to the farmers. And you have an advantage. So you are giving back to them a small percentage. So the life is saved and they are saved. And it is not problematic. These compounds are not creating problem to the soils. So we have tested this almost 3 to 4 years. Cobra, common crites, different snakes. Because we all eat differently, different taste. Snakes also same. So it is not like corona. Everybody use Dolo. No. Snakes requires different compositions. So we optimize it for different snakes, different regions. From Jammu Kashmir, Dehradun to the Chennai. Then now we have a optimized compositions based on the snake and based on the plant, and also used for the anti-termite, anti-fungal. Because in India, termites problem is there because of the other reasons. So we tested with the India Institute of Wood Science and Technology. Even now the tests are going on because for the last 6-7 years I am supplying. They are coming with new termite, new treatment, and they are saying excellent. Now we have taken a mission mode project, so we are producing the large scale quantities. And last but not least, this is the roads construction. India, almost 11 to 15 kilometers per day national highway. We import around 30,000 crores of the investment to bring the binder from the outside. No refinery will produce the binder because they wanted to produce ethylene propylene, which is much expensive than binder. Binder is only 60-65 rupees kilogram. Why to produce 65 rupees by bringing the $2 to $3 of the crude? So we need to find some solution from India. What we have done, because in Punjab biomass, it is around 17% inorganic content. It is not economically viable to produce any high quality range products. Convert that into the biobinder based hydrocarbon so that the import reduction is there. You can produce locally. You don't need the technology. So we have made that the biobinder in a large scale plant where the biomass is high. We have taken one project in Odisha. We made the large scale plant there. We produced it in a large scale to make the national highways in Guwahati. So these are the units, these mobile units. The energy which is coming from there, pellets we used for the burner. This is for the cooking. This is for the cold storage. This is for the food, fish, vegetable storage in the remote areas where you don't have electricity. So use these bio-based resources for the storage. And the remaining heavy oil products that we used for the production of the bitumen for the road. And this gas is only in the rubber balloons you can carry. So now you can see this pyrogas. The person is carrying it around 11 kilos of the gas. Easy to carry because no iron cylinder. So you can carry this and connect to this without any pressure problems. You can use this gas for the energy applications. Practically we have demonstrated in tribal areas, rural areas in Odisha where there is no transportation of the flights and trains. Then after meeting the Honorable Minister Gadkari, he mentioned that laboratory, everybody will say very fancy words, but it never goes to the translation. I want that to happen in road, real. We have taken a 6 months time, took money, and we made sure that economically viable, sustainable, and also made sure that it can happen. So we have taken that challenge, and this is a real road where we made it near Guwahati, produced it in large quantity, and made the road. And after 1.5 years, the properties are much more than required than the current fossil-based hydrocarbon, because that is the beauty of biomass. If you leave those kind of oils for some time, it will become a stone. So absolutely no problem. It will have a good property. So we made this road after the road construction. This is the photograph. And after 1.5 years also, there is no problem. But we have enough biomass. That is not the one solution. From crude oil, we get from cloth one to the everything. Biomass also we should get hundreds of products. The another product is, we know that Indian government started making of 16 plants for the ethanol production, 2G, from these straws. But today it is economically not viable because of the several reasons. We thought that what is the challenge there? The major challenge is the fractionation of the biomass. Only the cellulose is used for the ethanol production. So we tried to make that economically viable. The reason is now you can see that the same rice straw from New Delhi, one is 5% lignin, and Palakkad, Telangana, the biomass, same rice straw, has 30% lignin. No chemical engineer will accept the deviation of 5% of lignin to the 30% of lignin to make 100 kiloliters of the ethanol production plant. It is not generalized. Like water H2O, no rice straw, no lignin is no general formula. Everything is different. So you need to optimize, you need to devise that. So that is what we have done, made the database. Based on this, we made the process to change the conventional pretreatment process to the reductive catalytic fractionation process, where you can separate the lignin without any corrosive chemicals, as well as the low cost process without disturbing the crystallinity of the cellulose, so that that can be used for the production of the ethanol, because for ethanol we need only cellulose. So we did that. And you can see that these are the phenolic monomers. They are coming from the lignin, because coniferyl, cinepyl alcohol, guacyl alcohol are the primary units of the lignin. So you will get those lignins separately, and the holocellulose structure is intact, that can directly be used for the production of ethanol. We have tested that without any thermodynamic loss or the theoretical yields which can be possible, that we have generated this data. And these phenolic monomers we have used for the next scale, because the aviation fuels, if you see the composition, they are the saturated phenolic, those hydrocarbons. So directly you saturate those things, they can become precursors for your aviation industry. We have patented and we have processed that also. So these are some of the examples of the catalytic development studies where you can hydrogenate without the functionality loss, so that the lignin monomers can be directly converted into these kind of molecules, so that it is good. And these hydrous ruthenium oxide and the conventional zeolites, these catalysts also not expensive. The loading of the ruthenium is also very small. So we designed the catalyst based on this, because these types of catalysts are not conventionally available in refinery, because refinery never works on the oxygenated compounds. They are all hydrocarbons from the fossil basin. Then lignin. Lignin, there is no standard formula. Any 2 bottles of the Sigma Aldrich or any company will not be the same. Because as an editor, I see several publications, one data or one sample will not match with other lignin, because plant is different. Same biomass with 10 types of the pretreatment process will give the 10 types of lignins. Unless you understand that chemistry of the composition of that lignin monomers, then the process product of the functional hydrocarbon with one hydroxyl group cannot be matched. That is why we don't understand why the translation is not taking place in the industry. So we try to find some other materials. What is the best process to make use of these things? So we try to produce all these kinds of the materials with the integration of the different processes. Now we'll go for the materials, because today India imports huge quantity of the carbons. From mascara to the hair dye to the shoe polish to the cloth. All carbons, including for our RO water filters. Everything we import carbons. But India has huge carbons. We only never map those resources to use. If you calculate 25% of the Indian population uses the RO filters, you calculate the amount of the carbon powder cartridges we are dumping. So we thought that why don't we make something best carbons from this biomass. Now you can see that the super hydrophobic coating applications and also the carbon quantum dots, the nanomaterials. Today all OLED, including that screen, is QLED, OLED. That is based on the quantum dots. It's on the carbon quantum dots. We tried to produce those quantum dots from this biomass based carbon. We started mapping off, because India has huge enough biomass and you can produce art. Because if you see the Himalayan, pine is a problem, forest fires. So you can produce these carbons from the fullerenes, nanocoils, nanoflowers, nanosheets, nanowires, graphene, graphite, quantum dots, everything you can produce. So we have a center for graphene, center for carbons. Any material we look at, we try to see which is best to produce, what is the market demand, where it can apply. So, in addition to the fundamental science, we try to produce these materials, super hydrophobic surfaces, where the water contact angle is more than 150, it is called super hydrophobic. Now, normally when you put water on the carbon or any material, it takes. But the carbon material, what we produce, you can see, it will not be absorbed. Now you can see that water looks like a droplet only on the material, it never absorbs. So we have tested this for the different applications. So this is videos, because of the time limitation I am not showing. You can drop it, and this is the oil water separation. If you keep these carbons, only selectively hydrocarbons will be separated, water will be there. And here the super hydrophobic carbons for the different applications. We have, now you can see that all waters look like a drop. It never goes absorbed. You have a lot of potential to use, and today we need a lot of these kind of carbons. It's very expensive. Even a gram is more than 300, 400 rupees. So we try to make which biomass, which functionality, which carbon will have application, so that we will try to produce this. This is used for the anti-icing, de-icing. To understand this structure, we do the AFM, XPS, all kinds of the analytical techniques, so that the structure of the carbon is well understood. The applications will be the remain same. This is the all evidences to show that why the carbon is super hydrophobic, what are the functional groups responsible, how these functional groups are generated on these carbons. So we try to produce these kind of data. So to do that one, and we generate using the environmentally beneficial solvents, so that we will make these carbons environment friendly, so that the biomass resources based compounds or the process should not ever exit with the toxic chemicals. So we use the mechanical abrasion test. All types of tests, more than 12 tests for the produced carbons is successful, and we are also using for the electromagnetic shielding application. So the potential of that carbon, which is useless, can make the wonders. Only thing is you need to understand the chemistry and map those resources. So these are the things. And also we recently started working for the fog collection. Where you don't have a water, use these carbons to collect the water, drinking water. This is, you take the biomass from there, do the simple green chemistry, collect the water from the fog, so that you have a drinking water. So you don't need electricity. That is what we are started producing, this kind of the fog collection, and understand where that is possible. And today we all talk of the batteries. We all need the carbons from the batteries. So we are talking of the sodium batteries. We tried to convert these biomass-based carbons into the hard carbons. That carbons can be used as an anode material in your energy storage purpose. Because if not today, after 5 years, everybody has to use. Even 50% of people we need that carbon. From where we will get? We tried to map those carbons based on the power density, energy density that is required. So we found that the sodium ion is the best because of the advantage of this as a metal and availability of the sodium. So we try to see what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages, including the graphene. It has a lot of advantage that we can produce here. So we try to make these carbons walnut shell, cashew shell, and almond shells, because these are all not mixed with the conventional municipal solid waste. Where these dry fruits are there, only they will get the walnut shells. So we try to work with them, including the Jammu Kashmir. We get those samples. We try to make that, rather than burning, make some carbons. That carbons can be used for the energy applications. Even if you produce every day 1 ton, that is more than sufficient. So we started producing these materials and do all the CV studies. Produced carbons, how much cycle, how much life it has. So we test all those things. And coir pith, juliflora, and pine cone. Based on the different areas, you have the different biomass. We try to see almost 14 different kinds of biomass. What is the best yield you can get? What are the best applications of that carbon? Rather than changing the natural available biomass, you can make these kind of applications. Last but not least, the carbons for quantum dots. Same carbon, we change just a bit process, and we get these carbon dots. I don't want to much about the quantum confinement, why it happens. So the beauty of these carbon quantum dots, you can make it. Now you can see that carbon quantum dots less than 10 nanometer, it is almost 2 to 3 nanometer. Now we are reducing further size and also the shape because advantages of those carbon quantum dots. It is from the India's most abundantly available biomass and no use of toxic. It is a green process, as Professor G.D. Yadav always says in India that green chemistry is important. We try to apply not only the renewable biomass, abundantly available biomass in India, and also the use safer chemicals to make sure that you produce the material which is required by country, so that the Atmanirbharta Viksit Bharat can be achieved using these simple processes, and also provide the employment. These are all the data after producing these nanomaterials. All characterizations tested for some animals and also the different titrations. I will not take much time, and here now the real environmental complex, because yesterday people said about the carbon footprint. What we did, taken the IPCC guidelines, calculate the carbon quantities, carbon flux in this, and taken the entire earth as a single unit and calculate the carbon footprint. That is environmental performance to the environmental assessment, industrial symbiosis, and finally connect to the environmental social governance, ESG. Because only talking is not good. So you need to demonstrate that really ESG compliant. So without taking much time, taken all these climate change to the naval entities, biosphere integrity, calculated the data, a simple direct content of the climate change. These are the planetary commons. This is from the IPCC data. We take the standard data available in the 1996 to the 2019. This data we generated from the satellite data to understand what is the carbon flux, what is the carbon movement there, how it impacts in a long 30 times. Because today I may talk good, but after 30 years, 40 years, that should not create a problem. So to demonstrate that, we have taken this data and showed that it has a lot of advantages. Here it shows approximately 51% more beneficial, less carbon footprint than the carbon-based, fossil-based carbon processes for the aromatics production. Because I also work for aromatics, today I will not talk much. So this is the data of each individual process used from the soil to the petrochemicals production. So you can calculate what is the carbon footprint, what is the water footprint, and also the equivalent of energy that is accumulated, used in that process. So we do that, and we did this one. It is the biomass base, last few seconds. This is all thrust areas of our Advanced Material Process Research Institute. Around the materials, as I mentioned in my second slide, we try to use these resources for the different areas, strategic areas of this country, so that the graphene can be used in different applications, including the 3D printing of the hydrogen vessels. Again, that is from the graphene. That is, again, we are trying to produce from the bio-based resources. So how best you can use these carbons for different applications, including the catalytic applications? We have the state-of-the-art facilities, all the analytical data which I have shown. We have all the facilities to understand the complex biomass, so that you can make the best use of the facilities. These are the additive manufacturing of the all carbons, laser, plasma, electrochemical, and the conventional bio-based processing, we can use it. These facilities will help to understand more, and also to make the products, not only the lab scale studies. It is only to invite you all for your critical suggestions and comments. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Bhaskar. Okay. Friends, after having 3 very good lectures from contaminated water to fresh water and then biomass, so we are in safe hands. Nothing to be worried about in the plastics and biomass and all that. So we should live in a free world where the young scientists are available to do everything for us. Now, after this, I would like to request, because our beloved president was speaking yesterday, and he told us that he will address today, because that was the adjourn address. So today again, he will start it and will give us some very good things about the scientific world. The Honorable President, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm supposed to give a technical talk, and I thought I would do it today. So in continuation of what Bhaskar said, I'm talking about net negative future, okay? Because every time we say about positive, so how this is, how sustainability, climate action, and hydrogen are related, this is the theme of my talk. Yeah, okay. So I mentioned to you that we have celebrated 100 years. And so this is the finale of that. This particular conference is finale. So this is sort of valedictory. And so this was the title which I had given to this entire program for 2 years program, almost India's Century of Chemistry. Next. Hello? It's not? Okay. So I was telling everybody, how did I generate money? Look at this shlok. That give to institutions and charities in abundance. So what we want to do, one of the things which I want to do is, this next slide will show, but you should donate if you are industrialist, if you are philanthropist, or if you have something else, donate to society, to education, institutions and all. And so this is our proposed building in Calcutta. We got the land in 1967, but we have not done anything till today. So this is what I told you, and this will cost 10 crore. There are many schemes in that. Somebody has promised me funds, but inside we will require many things, okay? So if you are industrialist, philanthropist, whosoever, think of this, okay? Next is, now I come to the subject of, those who are in Chennai, they have seen severe drought or hot weather and rains also. And I think about 15 days back, we had torrential rains. So that is climate change in Chennai. Now it is not just Chennai, Pune. You have to learn swimming to live in Pune. Look at Assam, June, and look at Mumbai. Across the world, this is the situation. Go to the next. Yeah. And this is in Kerala, okay? God's land. This is in Kerala. So the monsoons have also changed. Go to the next, please. Okay. So even in Kerala it is happening. So a lot of monsoon, then it happened in Calcutta also. Correct? Next. So this is in France. So across the world you go, everywhere there is a climate change, very severe weather. Next, please. And look at this. So I've chosen Canada, abundant land, lot of fires. Same is the case in California, lot of fires. And these are advanced nations. Why they cannot control it? Right? There is something wrong in the system. So you see that wildfires, that is USA. And their president doesn't believe in climate change. Right? Next. And this is real. That particular place is called Death Valley in California. The temperature is always 50 degree plus, 50. Nothing can survive there. Remember where we are staying, if the temperature rises by 3 degrees Celsius, 80% of biological species will die. And that day is not far ahead. That day is not far ahead. Go to the next. And this is what we see. We hear a lot of politics. These are the farmers who are burning their agri-waste. They think they can kill pests, rodents, and whatnot, and they require carbon, right? Go to the next. How much is that? 100 million metric tons of agri-waste is burnt in India. Out 500 million metric tons is generated every year. Go to the next. Now this is the real, plight. You see the latest statistics, December 16, 427.29 ppm. Last year, 424. That means we have added 3 ppm in the year. If you look at the statistics before this, January 2020, before the pandemic, 410. We were sitting at home entire year. January 2021, 412. And the economy was restored in May 2022 when it became 418. So indication of economic growth is shown by carbon, but we want to have economic growth without the release of carbon. And that is what is shown there. If we don't have technological advances, by 20 to 50, no species will be there on Earth. No species. Because the temperature would have risen by 6 to 8 degrees Celsius, that will be 2000 ppm. Go to the next. Yeah, and this year, in March, 430 ppm. That means we are doing something, right? So what is the solution? Carbon dioxide should be taken from the atmosphere or wherever it is generated. Go to the next. So see, these are the different figures. These are fossil carbons, 2020, 30.4.8 gigatons, that is billion tons. Last year is 37.4. You add the other carbon, it becomes 41.6 gigatons, billion tons. Okay, go to the next. So ours is a carbon-based economy. So okay, whether you use biofuel or you use fossil fuel, carbon goes in the atmosphere. And what they say, when you have net zero means what? Whatever carbon dioxide you produce, you should capture CCUS, utilize, store, whatever. That is net zero. So we say plant more trees. How many trees you can plant? The tillable land is going down day by day. So the problem is whether you use fossil carbon or biocarbon, it is carbon dioxide when you burn it. And that is the real problem for climate change. Go to the next. So we wrote an article during this, that COVID period. Gave entire picture of carbon-based industry, hydrocarbons as well as biomass. We had submitted to a very famous journal. And they said these Indian authors are claiming too much. They rejected the paper, but some other journal published it. It has 18,000 downloads, 18,000. Because it also talked about policy of governments. Go to the next. So see, so net zero and sustainability, next. Yeah. So these are the 10 points on which we should develop our science, no matter what we are doing. One is hydrogen technologies, and I'm going to tell you why hydrogen is going to be the prime material, carbon dioxide as the new oil. So I will not take carbon dioxide as a liability, will convert that into hydrocarbons, decarbonization, biomass valorization. Bhaskar talked about biomass valorization. Solid waste management. Our cities produce at least 50% of carbon in the West. Mumbai municipality, 9,000 tons a day, 50% is food. 10 to 12% is plastic. Remaining, construction, debris, metal, whatnot. Waste plastic recycling. So when we have a problem, Bisleri man should have been here. They say ban plastic. Single-use plastic ban is a stupid idea. I'm publicly telling this. It's a stupid idea. When you have a ban of anything, like you have a liquor ban, maximum liquor is sold in those 2 states where there is a liquor ban. What is the meaning of that? People are breaking Umapati is laughing, but that's the fact. Okay? Wherever there is a liquor ban, people will find illicit business. Many people are killed. Okay? And still, police and municipality will make money. Same is the case with plastic ban. So I will show you what happens later. Water resource management. Although I showed pictures of drought and rain, water is a precious commodity. And we have to manage. Water management is one of the biggest challenges. The Bisleri man, that is what I was telling him. Wait, I will tell you what I'm going to do. Circular economy and recycle engineering. These are not just buzzwords. Chemical engineering will be called recycle engineering of the future. Biotechnology. Most of the processes in future will be both combination of chemical technology and biotechnology. Chemical catalysis, biocatalysis, whatnot. And last but not the least, the systems engineering. Now chemists are also talking about systems chemistry. What it means is that you have a boundary. Only useful materials go inside, useful materials go outside, useful energy goes inside, useful energy goes outside. Everything else is recycled, whether it's a co-product, byproduct. Co-product means you cannot change that chemistry, but byproduct, yes. Maybe use catalysis. Byproduct means another reaction. Go to the next. So, normally in the television, you have a sadhu, bawa, whoever, he says, beta, think positive. I am saying think negative. I am joking. Go to the next. That is, think of negative. Kalol Dada, I mean think of negative. Go to the next. That is, we must have carbon negative system. Carbon should not be used as a fuel. That is the only solution to save Earth from disaster. Carbon should not be part of any fuel. May talk about biofuel, anything. We may say it, but why we are doing it? For political reasons. That is, we want to reduce our import bill. Therefore, we say, let the farmers have some carbon, bioethanol or something, mix it with fuel, and you generate, this fuel. So this is, and material neutrality. So 2047, we said we will be Vikasit, that is developed nation. What is the meaning of that? That means we will be $30 trillion economy, 167 crore people, 30% of that will be below the age of 30. So we have a lot of people that time. And the GDP per capita has to be $30,000. Now to achieve that, we will not have any virgin material. It will be all reused material. Like for example, this particular platform, this will be a resource, not liability. Go to the next. So, net negative energy system, that is what I'm saying. We should not talk about net zero. Everybody talks about net zero. I've given several lectures. Net negative is the solution. Go to the next. So this is where people talk about green chemistry engineering. I won't read anything on that slide. Go to the next. So see, this is very important. Why I say net zero. In 2020, during the pandemic, we emitted 35 gigatons of carbon dioxide. And unless it is brought down to 10 gigatons, we will not have net zero. Net zero means that. That means that time. So you see that, go to the next. And these figures I showed you earlier, go to the next. So for 10 gigatons or 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature rise, which we promised in the Paris Agreement or Paris Accord, 195 nations signed, United States did not sign that. Okay? So go to the next. So you see, we have to take carbon out of our fuel mix. Everything has to be renewable. Okay? Go to the next. So this is. So I call chemical engineering as recycle engineering. You recycle physically, chemically, biologically, even nuclear. So material recyclability and sustainability, that means there is a tremendous scope for chemical industry. Hydrogen industry, ammonia industry. Go to the next. So you see that in 2000, we adopted the policy of renewable energy, solar energy, wind energy. They have a life of 25 years about. 50 million tons of used solar panels are lying somewhere. And the turbines, wind turbines have praseodymium, neodymium, some rare metals, magnets, very precious. And one big turbine requires 300 kilo of that. Right? There is a lot of politics. So this material is available. So we have to recycle it. We have to reuse it. India doesn't have any of these things. We depend on China or some other countries in Africa. Go to the next. That means, go to the next. Whether the waste is solid, liquid or gas, we have to convert into useful materials. And some of the examples Bhaskar gave, so I'm not going to talk on that. Go to the next. So this is what the mantra, 5R. What is that? First is refuse. If you refuse, for example, I give a bottle, plastic bottle. If you refuse, you have saved carbon dioxide. That is first R. Next is repurpose. Same thing is used for something else. Correct? Housewives are good at it. They do it most of the time. Right? That is repurpose. Repurpose is the word which has come from pharma industry. They are repurposing drugs. Same drug is used for something else. Viagra is one of them. Okay? So you can see, reduce, reuse, but I have given the last is most important, recycle engineering. Go to the next. Yeah. So in other words, for recycle engineering, you have to incentivize. The policy should be such, everywhere government policy matters. Go to the next. So government policy should be such that it is easy to adopt and practice. For example, when you say plastic ban, you say 50 micron is allowed. Do you go with a metering gauge and take the bag and measure 50 micron? It is not practicable. So government of Maharashtra chief secretary called me once and he said, sir, we want your advice. Should we ban plastic? I said, no, it's a stupid idea. Don't ban it. Because there are technologies. If one technology creates a problem, another technology must solve. And I will tell you. He said, no, we have already decided to ban it. I said, why did you call me? If you have decided to ban, so what happens? You hear newspaper headlines. So-and-so vendor was caught with 10 kilo of plastic. They will be underhand dealing, right? So when you have policies which encourage corruption, that policy will never be practiced. Okay? Go to the next. So what it means is that this is a just simple systems engineering approach. You look at the boundaries. Everywhere I have shown that net negative, you only useful products will exit. Go to the next. So you see carbon dioxide, waste biomass, plastic, municipal solid, they are my feedstock now. And I make use of them as a feedstock. Go to the next. Go to the next. Everywhere it is the same idea. We have that idea for, so recycle. So if you develop a catalyst, you must develop it for a recycled material, not virgin material. Anybody can do virgin material. Recycled material, because it will have contamination. Will it tolerate? The catalyst may not tolerate it, right? Go to the next. So there are several colors of hydrogen. In fact, you see there are so many colors of hydrogen. That hydrogen is colorless. But why color? Because the technology which is used to make this hydrogen has given that color. So it is like coal, brown hydrogen, gray hydrogen. This is refineries. They take natural gas, do steam methane reforming. More hydrogen comes from the water part of it. The carbon goes as carbon dioxide. That is what is happening there. You see, blue hydrogen means what? That means at least 90% of the carbon dioxide you must capture, store, or use it for something else. I'm saying that is my feedstock now for making chemicals, etc. Pyrolysis, turquoise hydrogen. You get bio-oil, a lot of oxygenated compounds are there. Again, hydrogen is required to make hydrocarbons. Okay? So Bhaskar gave some example of, say, serpent and all those things. That bio-oil. So you have both gas, oil, and solid. That solid biochar is a very good fertilizer which can be used. So as a chairman of that committee, I told farmers in Punjab, make use of this. Right? That rice has got a lot of silica, 92% silica, and that's a very good quality silica. Good. So all these things, green hydrogen, this is what we are talking about. Green hydrogen means not green color. Green hydrogen is colorless hydrogen, where green energy is used, renewable energy is to make that hydrogen. And then pink is nuclear energy. And white hydrogen is which is naturally occurring. Now, on the top of it, although I made this slide, I should have added something else, something called gold hydrogen. That gold hydrogen is, Texas, that state has declared some gold hydrogen policy. So you can imagine, go to the next. So this is what, but in future only the so-called green hydrogen and blue hydrogen will be ruling the entire world. Go to the next. So you see, these are a number of different predictions by different agencies in Europe, like International Energy Agency, Hydrogen Council, Energy Transition. They talk about different proportions. What is that? 287 to 813 million metric tons. What it means? Minimum is maximum that. This will not be correct. This will be more than this. I'm telling you this. Go to the next. So, yes, hydrogen. Go to the next. So you see, we can produce hydrogen by many means, and there are so many papers, articles, patents, and whatnot. What matters is the energy. How much energy is required, and what will be the cost of that hydrogen? Okay, so I'm going to give you some statistics. Go to the next. So we like Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, Trinity, right? For me, this is the Trinity. Solar energy, wind energy, and hydrogen energy. Solar and wind does not give me material. Hydrogen gives me. So hydrogen I'm calling Prime Devas, Prathama Devata. Okay? Go to the next. So green hydrogen will be the savior of the world. Why? There are so many countries. Every country is talking about green hydrogen, green ammonia, and whatnot. Go to the next. So you see, so this is from BP Energy. BP Energy says by 2050, 73% will be renewable energy, and that is, go to the next, that will be 49,000 terawatt hours. Go to the next. That is 49,000 terawatt hours. My advice to our government is we should produce at least 20% of it, give incentive to our energy, and export green hydrogen, and make, foreign exchange. Go to the next. That is my advice. And in 2050, we will not have any crude oil because that will be all exhausted. Either because it is very expensive, maybe $200 a barrel, or other technologies, biomass valorization will take control in the industry. Go to the next. Go to the next. Yeah. So what we did a lot of work in this area. We took bio-oils, we took everything. We took bioalcohols, for example, steam methane reforming. We got patents, we got publications. I won't go into the details, but just I'm making you aware of what is happening in this industry. Go to the next. But what is important, everybody is talking about electrolysis. We said, can we talk of something else? So this is the thermochemical, production of hydrogen, okay? So there are 310 plus reported cycles. So that cycle which I have given there, ICT cycle, copper chlorine cycle, 6 stages. We did not develop that cycle. It was already reported, but we modified it in such a way that the engineering worked out. So we got several patents. Go to the next. Go to the next. Yeah. So you see, it is highly complicated. The chemistry is all decided, but we changed the engineering of that. We also added one extra step, which is not there in the original cycle. Okay. So this is supported by ONGC Energy Center. They have been working with me last 18 years. Go to the next. So this is our pilot plant. Now this pilot plant, which is Goa, now has shifted to Panvel. 5 of my PhD students were Prime Minister's Fellows, now 6. All my students were Prime Minister's Fellows because research was supported by industry. 50% money came from industry, 50% from DST, and the fellowship was 1,10,000 rupees per month. So obviously, I'm expected to develop technology, not just publish papers. Right? Next. So we did this, and what I am claiming, only time will tell whether I am right or wrong. I am claiming if I produce 100 tons per day of hydrogen, I can make it in $1. Typical cost is anywhere between $6 to $7. Right? That is typical cost. So what American government is doing, how many, that slide will be there next. Go to the next. So this is 111. That is $1, 1 kilo hydrogen in 1 decade. That is 111. India is a cricket-loving nation, crazy nation. Right? They don't care for scientists, but cricketers are heroes overnight. What is 111? In test cricket, if you are playing on a score of 111, you can get out. That is an unlucky number. So it's a coincidence that this is called 111. So what Joe Biden did? Donald Trump said, I don't believe in that. He said, drill, baby, drill. Correct? He said that. Joe Biden said, I'm going to sign this Paris Agreement, Accord. And he gave incentive. He said, develop this 111. By 2031, they will give $3 per kg incentive to the producer. $3 subsidy. That means the cost has to be more than $6. That is the meaning. So I was telling our government, we should also give subsidy to our industry. They have given 100. Go to the next. Go to the next. Yeah. And actual hydrogen cost is anywhere between $2 to $2.5. The refinery hydrogen, where refineries are highly polluting because everything goes in 1 kilo of hydrogen produces 11 kilo of carbon dioxide. Go to the next. So you see that this particular slide shows what we did, why we got patents, how we developed technologies. So on the right hand, you see we make from, so we have solar energy, we have molten salts to store that energy, then we have copper chlorine cycle. So 9 kilo of water gives me 1 kilo of hydrogen and 8 kilo of oxygen. So I can make from carbon dioxide methane, I can make LPG, I can make sustainable aviation fuel. This is what we have been doing. Then you go to biomass, I can do many, many things. So, hydrocarbons, methanol, dimethyl ether, and then you see how many things I can go. Go to the next. Yeah. So same thing I can do with ammonia. Okay, same thing with ammonia. Go to the next. So this is a comparison of processes and how our process outwits other processes. Go to the next. And Honorable Nitin Gadkari had seen our plant. So he mentioned me by name in Parliament on 6 December 2023 that we are doing this work. So this is a recognition of some sort by political leaders. Go to the next. So what we did, we got integrated technology. Next. So first is carbon dioxide to methane and hierarchical carbons. This is one technology. We had 26 companies showing interest in that. So we have 3 EOI for that. Okay. So we can make methane, add hydrogen. See, I can take biogas, convert that into the calorific value I can increase. We have done it. We have got patents also. Go to the next. So we did dimethyl ether. Dimethyl ether is substitute for diesel and LPG. We can mix it in that. So this technology we have transferred to Godavari biorefinery. They produce 450 tons of carbon dioxide in their fermenters. This we have done very recently. Go to the next. Okay, go to the next because these are here. Methanol. Niti Aayog talks about methanol economy. So we are making carbon dioxide to methanol. Now we are going to build a 5-ton per day plant, pilot plant, you see. Then we will have so-called green methanol. We can urea and all those things. These are high level of science has gone into that. And engineering also, I must tell you. Go to the next. So go to the next. Go to the next. So we have also made ethanol for carbon dioxide by catalytic processes, not by fermentation. Go to the next. So you see this methanol economy. So we have given all sorts of industrial scenario for methanol, and same is for dimethyl ether. Go to the next. Yeah. So dimethyl ether. Go to the next. And once I have methanol, I can build the entire chemical industry. I can build entire. Go to the next. So we can play with that. Organic chemists can play with that. So you can do reduction of carbon dioxide, you can do electrically, you can do all sorts of things. Go to the next. So you see, the carbon dioxide refinery is a concept which will have its day now. And how many processes are there? Thermochemical, chemical, biochemical, plasma, everything is there. So go to the next. And once I have CO2, see major compounds I can produce, carbonates I can produce. Okay, that is CO2. Go to the next. I can go to the next. So what it means? Then we did another interesting calculation. That is, if you have 1 kilo of crude, typical refinery gives me 32 megajoule of fuels plus 0.2 kilo of chemicals. But if I take 1 kilo of biomass, biofuel wala, Bhaskar, if you take 1 kilo of biomass, it gives me only 6 megajoule of energy or 0.8 kilo of chemicals. Go to the next. So, 97.4 million barrels a day refinery we took, standard world capacity that time. It gives me 250 barrels per second. If I just break fuels 10 barrels per second, but if I convert to chemicals 320 barrels. Common sense tells me that it is better to make chemicals from biomass rather than burning it as a fuel. And again, talking about net zero. No, that is what I am talking about, net negative. Go to the next. So yes, so we should make chemicals from biomass and not fuels. Biofuel is a bad idea. Go to the next. So we can do all sorts of things. Go to the next. Yeah, so these are, see, from bioethanol I can make 11 major chemicals and 19 specialty chemicals. And of course, ethanol is a subsidized industry, right? So we can make a lot of money on that. Go to the next. So, headline, carbon should not be burned as a fuel. That is my message. Go to the next. And again, plastic ban. So, wish that Bisleri man was here. Plastic ban is a stupid idea. I told you. If one technology creates a problem, another technology must solve it. That is the history of technology. How plastic was introduced? Because of paper. They said paper is denuding the forest. So plastic became the savior of the environment. This is the history. Okay, go to the next. So ban should not be done. What should be done? Go to the next. So plastic pollution to date is one problem, future is another. I am talking about future if we allow single-use plastic. Okay, now how to do it? Go to the next. Yeah, now I will tell you because there are housewives here also. When you buy milk in a pouch, right, the milk may be 60 rupees a kilo. We are talking about digital economy. I will have, barcode on that, okay? 20 rupees deposit, refundable. And housewife is so smart, she will not leave even one drop of milk in that. She will put more water, shake it 100 times. Because she says milk has value, plastic bag has no value, so throw it. Correct? Plastic has. Anything free in this world, including free advice, is not appreciated. Correct? You go to any party, marriage party, birthday party, there's attractive food is kept there. The shape makes attractive. Like last night also, we had attractive food. You take bigger plate, not small plate also. Because more, you have never tasted, so you take more. You don't like it, so throw it. So I suggested. I said, in front of each dish, nice looking, inverted comma, you keep a bowl and say, sir or madam, put 100 rupees in this before you touch the dish. And I can assure you, your wife will never allow you to touch that dish because you never eat at home. Just because it is free, you eat it. And spoil the food also. And at the end of the marriage, give that money to the bride or groom. We will save the environment. We will save the environment. I'm not joking. Go to the next. So that we do it now for the newspaper. Newspaper supplements are hopeless. I don't read them, really speaking. So housewife will never throw newspaper. She will sell it as waste paper, raddi. Not, she's very smart. She will sprinkle water also to increase the weight. You are laughing, that means it is really happening, right? Go to the next. Go to the next. So, SUP pollution is because it is free. Plastic is free, therefore we throw it. If I had a barcode, I will promote digital economy. Like one boy comes to drop newspaper, another will come to collect the plastic. Give him. You are lazy, you don't go, but he will take 5% commission. Still you will get money. Segregation of plastic takes 80% of the cost in the technology. Plastic segregation. Go to the next. So put an end to the plastic pollution. Ban is, go to the next. Yeah. So we can depolymerize. There are many technologies, many things, hydrolysis, methanolysis, alcoholysis, name it. Go to the next. So I can do chemical plastic recycling through chemical convergence. I can build a variety of molecules, all sorts of things I can do. Now to the next. Hydrogen plays the role in this upgradation. And how? Go to the next. See, single-barrel plastic. Donald Trump also banned plastic. And he said, I will have plastic straw, not paper straw. He did a mistake. He should have charged $1, refundable. Correct? Or €1. Go to the next. So in India, I'm saying 20 rupees. If the principal of this college puts 20 rupees on that plastic, not a single piece you will see here. Correct? Because you say, go to the, it will promote digital economy. Go to the next. So we can do all sorts. This is chemical engineering. All sorts of things. I can produce hydrogen from plastic. We have got some work. We have published also. All sorts of things can be done. Go to the next. But what is important is this. Hydrothermal processing, chemolysis, pyrolysis, and gasification. All these things will give good chemicals. Go to the next. And you see that, so we published a lot of work in this area. This is one of the papers which we wrote. Go to the next. Go to the next. We did phase transfer catalyzed reactions. Okay, we built a nice model also. There is a mathematics in that. Go to the next. So this model I developed and I said, we can use this and we can, from PET, we can get ethylene glycol as well as terephthalic acid. We did it for nylon also. Okay, we could get caprolactam back. Okay, go to the next. So yes, but what is important is hydrogenation or hydrogenolysis. Take any plastic, mixture of plastic, hydrogenolysis will break the molecule, it will give me hydrocarbons, and I can handle the problem. Go to the next. So that is what is shown here. And these technologies are known, HCl, hydrogen sulfide, all these things. From hydrogen sulfide I can make sulfur, all sorts of things are there. Because refineries have 8 processes where hydrogen is required. Okay, and refineries are, so same is the case with steel industry. Same is the case with ammonia industry, fertilizer industry. Go to the next. So we can see that, this is from one of my research papers. So you see that waste plastic, catalytic, you see glycolysis, hydrolysis, everything given there. We can break it. Of course, there are challenges, development, technology-wise there are challenges, but yes. Go to the next. Last few slides. Okay, petroleum refinery and biorefinery. Go to the next. One is benzene, toluene, xylene, butanes. It is functionalization. Another is defunctionalization, catalytic. So you produce variety of chemicals. Go to the next. So, yeah, this is interest of farmers. Go to the next. So, farmers' income can be multiplied if we have kachra factories, that is, waste factory, sugar factory, like sugar cooperative, waste cooperative. They should densify the material, make pellets. The pellet is typically 6 rupees a kilo. Government should incentivize by giving 10 rupees a kilo. They will collect the entire, rural area will be clean. And that is transported to your biorefinery to make chemicals. That is the policy. So why I'm saying policy? We may have all sorts of brilliant ideas and patents, but the policy is not there. Nothing can happen. Go to the next. And then you can go to Delhi, these days at least. Next. So this is integrated biorefinery. So cellulose, hemicellulose, and lignin. all of these things, hydrogen plays a very important role. That means water splitting. Both hydrogen and oxygen are required. Go to the next. So see how many things are there. Go to the next. Cellulose, hemicellulose, and lignin. Next. Yeah. All these are my sources of chemicals. And these are 14 different I have listed here. These are all catalytic processes. Go to the next. So we wrote this in one of my papers that look at the top. C5, C6 sugars, oxidation, hydrogenation, hydrogenolysis. Down also you see this lignin, oxidation, hydrogenolysis. All these processes gives me chemicals. So why burn it? Should not burn. Go to the next. Yeah, so hydrogen and oxygen will be our precursors. Go to the next. Yeah, so glycerol, bioglycerol people talked about. 10% of glycerol per kilo of biodiesel. But biodiesel does not match with petrodiesel cost-wise. And the glycerol can be converted into 23 important chemicals by using catalytic processes. Go to the next. So we did the same thing with furans. Tomorrow's industry will be like benzene, toluene, xylene. Furan will be one of the important things for chemical and allied industry. And I talked about it in your NIST there in Johrat, right? Go to the next. So last two slides, that is hydrogen is safer than conventional fuels. People think hydrogen means hydrogen bomb. That is deuterium, not hydrogen. Go to the next. And so this is what we said, because yesterday people were talking about, there was a conference arranged by Nobel Foundation. I attended it. I was the only Indian representative, called Chemistry for the Future. So we are talking about chemistry, what should be done, how to teach chemistry, how to do research in chemistry, and how to take care of the environment, how to have sustainability. That was the conference. Go to the next. So you can see that I was the second signatory for that conference in Paula Lastas and John Warner, they were there. And this is Professor Ben Feringa, the Nobel laureate. He was from Netherlands. He attended. You can see the signatures on that. These 5 points of the charter, sustainable future. Go to the next. So green economy, people talk about bioeconomy, biomass economy, or the so-called circular economy. And I gave you 5 important points: green hydrogen, carbon dioxide, waste plastic, and biomass. Okay? That is what is going to be our future. Next. So why net negative goal is important? I told you that. How this can be, actually this has to be integrated with the government policies. Since I work with government, in fact just yesterday they appointed me as a chairman of the scientific advisory committee to the petroleum ministry, just yesterday. So these are the points which are covered in that notification. Go to the next. So finally I must acknowledge my students. A lot of them are working day and night. I go outside and give lectures. Sometimes I crack jokes. But the real hard work is done by my students. So my lecture is dedicated to them. Thank you. And I came between you and the tea. Right? There is a tea thereafter. Where is Rajkumar? He's already gone by. Oh, you are there. So I don't require any gift. Huh? Just I will go down. Yeah, we have to felicitate Professor Sharma. Yeah. For allowing me to speak.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Yadav sir, and thank you, Pradeep sir. And now we'll be breaking for the tea, and after the tea, we have the breakup session. So I have few announcements. Yes. I have few announcements. 1 minute, I'll call the volunteers. Now, the tea for the staff members and for the delegates are served in the staff tiffin room at the first floor. And for participants and students with green and blue tag, it is served in the examination hall. And for participants, please, you have an announcement here. We have different halls, and from here to the hall, after the tea, I have few volunteers. Volunteers, please come. We have Lokesh. He is for seminar hall. Those participants who have to go to seminar hall, please contact Lokesh. He will guide you. Alan Shaji, he is for CMS, Central Media Center for Media Studies. He will be ushering you to the Center for Media Studies. You have to still walk through the campus for that. Then Abrin Dona, Unicorn Hall for Physical Chemistry, Analytical Chemistry. Right? Please contact Abrin Dona. Active Learning Center, Physical Chemistry, Vinista. Please contact Jalen Vinista for Active Learning Physical Chemistry track. She'll be coming to the examination hall so that you can contact her for the venue. Padma Shri, Blue Whale Hall for Inorganic. That is in Innovation Park. Please contact Padma Shri. She'll be coming to the examination hall. So please contact her. I think the participants, please contact the ushering committee. Please contact the ushering committee for taking you to the respective venues. Right. Thank you.